We have breaking news. ABC has just announced here that they will be preempting the very well-known show Jimmy Kimmel Live indefinitely. That's confirmed by ABC, and it comes at a very tense time with many of the issues we've been covering tonight. There was a backlash on the right because Jimmy Kimmel, after the Charlie Kirk shooting, made the statement that he viewed, quote, new lows with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them, and with everything they can to score political points from it, end quote.
Jimmy Kimmel, they're trying to cancel Jimmy Kimmel. I'm sure you've heard the news by now, but I've been going through the internet looking for the clips to see what they're mad or upset about, and I can't find it. I can't find it. The one that they have on there, I don't see where that's even controversial. The guy's a comedian. This is the same party, the same group of people who complained about everything is too woke. Comedians can't say anything anymore. They're killing comedy. The folks who are complaining about killing comedy are killing comedy. The folks who are complaining about canceling people are canceling people. What does that tell you? That they don't believe in anything that they're saying, that they've said, that they have no core. All it is if it doesn't fit their particular ideology or belief, then they don't want to hear it.
Kimmel was not treated unfairly. He knew what he was doing and did it anyway, and he's paying the price. But I'm telling you, I don't feel good about it. I wish he had not done it. I wish he had called me and read me the monologue. I would have said, Jim, no way that's appropriate. No way. Think about the widow. Think about the widow of Charlie Kirk. And you're accusing millions of Americans of being complicit in his murder? That is not true. You are misleading. You can't do that. And that is...
Apparently, the Daily Mail is reporting that Kimmel was going nuclear over this. He's furious, Raymond. He's PO'd over the decision to suspend him. And now he's not taking it lightly, and this is the last straw for Jimmy. This is the last straw for Jimmy. He said he already has a new job, and it's lit a fire, apparently. It already has.
Well, I spoke to people close to that show over the summer. They told me they were looking for another host then. This seems like it was convenient on ABC to sort of move them aside. But like so many of these guys, they had a John to decide to follow. Instead of John Carson, they followed Jon Stewart. It is ratings oblivion, and here we are.
Boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. So we got to talk about what I can only describe as a complete and total defeat of the left when it comes to culture. And I think that is what this canceling of Jimmy Kimmel represents. Leftists, liberals are currently boohoo, whining, crying, losing their minds over this idea that they're losing their free speech because ABC decided to cancel Jimmy Kimmel for lying on national television about the ideology, the political ideology, the motivation of the far left radical that assassinated Charlie Kirk. Okay, he lied. Okay, he tried to say that the assassin was MAGA, and that's just a lie. And behind the scenes, apparently Jimmy Kimmel, he is very, very, very pissed off about this, right? Insiders told Daily Mail that the late night host is, quote, absolutely effing livid. Okay, livid, upset, mad. Okay, mad. Apparently he was supposed to go on air and to address what happened, but he didn't want to apologize. And because he didn't want to apologize, that is what led to the decision to take him off air. Okay, and as you can imagine, again, the mainstream liberal media, they're boohoo, whining, crying foul, talking about how Trump is using the government to silence criticism of him in the news when, again, this isn't really about the government at all, okay? But again, they're trying to make this about the government when it's not about the government. And Jimmy Kimmel's First Amendment rights are not under attack, and the liberal media's First Amendment rights are not under attack either. Again, you just can't go on national television and lie and think that you shouldn't face any consequences.
Developing. But let's back up and look at what Kimmel actually said on the program that has caused controversy. This is from Monday night in his Monday evening monologue. Kimmel suggested that the alleged killer of Charlie Kirk might have been a pro-Trump Republican. He said, quote, "The MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it." He said in between the finger pointing, there was grieving. Kimmel was expressing what we've heard some other liberals say in recent days, that the motives are unclear and that maybe the suspect in this case was a Republican or was some sort of far-right fringe figure. Of course, there has been a lot of discussion about that in recent days. There's a lot of evidence pointing in other directions about the suspect. But Kimmel was on the air talking about this, making a very serious commentary amid his jokes in his monologue Monday night. Here's where it became interesting earlier today. The FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, went on a far-right webcast and condemned Kimmel and urged ABC to suspend him. He also talked about possible regulatory punishments of Disney because there are lots of different stations that have licenses with the FCC. Within the past hour, we've heard from a big owner of stations that have affiliations with ABC, a company called Nexstar, saying that they were going to suspend Kimmel's show on their station. So in other words, about 24 stations were refusing to air Kimmel's show tonight as a result of this controversy. And then following word that some of those stations were basically revolting against Kimmel, Disney, the parent company of ABC, decided to yank the show entirely. So that's all we know at the moment. We know that Kimmel will not be on the air tonight or for the foreseeable future because the network says the show has been yanked off the air indefinitely.
Brian, just to take one issue, your interpretation of what Kimmel said, I think, is the one that Brendan Carr had and the one that the individuals at Nexstar have. But what he said specifically was, quote, "The MAGA gang is desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points from it." That can be read in several ways. That could be heard in several ways. It could also be it could also be argued he's saying that what the MAGA gang is doing is just trying to make sure that they don't have any ownership of it, not necessarily that this killer, this horrible person.
Well, it's absolute corruption of government and it's absolute violation of the free speech rights of the people and of the media. And this is really taking us back to the days of King George, where it was a crime to insult the president.
Senator Schumer, your reaction to this?
It is outrageous. It's a page right out of Xi's playbook. This is just despicable, disgusting, and against democratic values. Trump and his allies seem to want to shut down speech that they don't like to hear. That is not what democracies do. That is what autocracies do. And it doesn't matter whether you agree with Kimmel or not. He has the right to free speech. And so it is just outrageous. It is indicative of autocracy. And I am just outraged by it. Again, this is what dictators do. This is what Xi would do. This is what Putin would do. We are not that country.
We don't have to speculate about what comes next because President Trump in his televised speech after the assassination of Charlie Kirk and his aide Stephen Miller have already told us what is coming next. And they previewed it back in April. What is coming next is a crackdown on Democratic Party fundraising. That President Trump said we are going to go after those who raise funds for causes we don't like. Stephen Miller said that even more emphatically. In April of this past year, Donald Trump, at his personal command, ordered his Department of Justice, an astonishing thing for a president to do, to investigate the Democratic Party's small dollar donation platform, ActBlue. The attack on Democratic Party fundraising is coming next. The suppression of Democratic Party speech is coming next. Look,
Charlie Kirk is horrific, but the idea that someone is going to get pulled off a news program, off a channel that's supposed to be independent, and that ABC is making this decision because of possible political pressure through the president is both stunning and outrageous. And so I think that
of all things to be offended by, you know, I've heard a lot more offensive things said in the aftermath of this terrible, awful event than that. And it just shows they are looking for reasons to get Jimmy Kimmel, and they manufactured one out of something that is, you know, hardly a dramatic departure from what lots of people are saying.
I mean, I reached out to ABC earlier today to see if he was going to make some sort of statement because this thing was building heat.
Yeah, so why are Democrats so upset by a liberal comedian being canceled, right? It's almost as if, again, his job is to push propaganda on behalf of the Democrat Party, which is why he got fired. Kind of explains why Democrats are so upset. Also, notice how the liberal media, Brian Stelter, still dances around the fact that the shooter was left-wing, right? Like, again, this is getting to the point where it's honestly kind of scary. Like, why does the media tiptoe around admitting a basic truth about the assassin of Charlie Kirk? Like, why can't they just say that the assassin is left-wing? The fact that they cannot say that, like they can't say it on national television with a straight face, it tells you a lot about just how biased the media actually is. I mean, notice how Brian Stelter had no issues calling the Benny Johnson Show a far-right webcast, okay? The Benny Johnson Show is a far-right webcast, according to Brian Stelter. But he can't call the shooter far left, but he can call Benny Johnson's show far right. So, again, in the same conversation, right? The exact same conversation, the media is unafraid to label a podcast that they don't like far right, but they are choked up to admit that the shooter's far left. Once you see it, you can't unsee it, right? You can't unsee it. Like, it's incredible. It really is.
What we've heard some other liberals say in recent days, that the motives are unclear and that maybe the suspect in this case was a Republican or was some sort of far-right fringe figure. Of course, there has been a lot of discussion about that in recent days. There's a lot of evidence pointing in other directions about the suspect. But Kimmel was on the air talking about this, making a very serious commentary amid his jokes in his monologue Monday night. Here's where it became interesting earlier today. The FCC chairman, Brendan Carr, went on a far-right webcast and condemned Kimmel and urged ABC to suspend him.
The liberal media might need to be called the leftist media at this point, because in theory, right, a liberal media would not have any issues calling out the far left. But again, the media has decided that for whatever reason, they want to run cover for the far left, right? Again, so much so that you got people like Jimmy Kimmel getting fired for it. So before I get deeper into why Jimmy Kimmel got fired and also some of the things that these companies are asking him to do, liberals are calling for a boycott, right? They want a full-blown boycott of ABC and Disney over the firing of Jimmy Kimmel, right? This is what they're calling for. They want to boycott all of the advertisers, all of these stations, all of these companies over Jimmy Kimmel.
So are we boycotting ABC? Because I am. They just fired Jimmy Kimmel. His show has been suspended indefinitely. Trump took to Truth Social, his little social media platform, and told ABC congratulations. And he also told them that they should also fire Jimmy Fallon and Seth Meyers, I believe. But he was fired over his monologue in regards to Charlie Kirk. Monologue, he stated, "We hit some new lows over the weekend with the MAGA gang desperately trying to characterize this kid who murdered Charlie Kirk as anything other than one of them and doing everything they can to score political points." He also referred to Trump's grievance over Charlie Kirk's death as of a 4-year-old mourning the death of a goldfish, which I totally agree. ABC also avoids talking about Palestinians and Gaza, so it's really not surprising to me that they would fire Jimmy Kimmel over free speech on his own show because he's doing a monologue. And mind you, what he said really wasn't all that bad. I don't know about y'all, but hashtag boycott ABC, boycott Hulu, boycott Disney. Anything ABC needs to be boycotted. Anything associated with ABC needs to be boycotted.
ABC News pulling Jimmy Kimmel off the air without an executive order, without some type of order, without some specific threat from the President of the United States other than he told a joke that made me unhappy, and ABC just fucking bent over like that. There was no reason why they had to do this. There was no reason compelling them to do this today. They just did it. They just did it. They obeyed in advance. Chapter 1 from Timothy Snyder's On Tyranny. Do not obey in advance. It is cowardice. It is shameful cowardice in the face of authoritarianism. It is absolutely shameful. I mean, fuck them. ABC and Disney should be boycotted, man. Because Disney had a hand in this decision too. ABC News and Disney, ABC's parent company, should be fucking boycotted for doing this. 100%. I can't remember the last time I ever watched anything on ABC, but I'm not watching anything on ABC from here on out. Fuck these guys, man. They are willing to capitulate to an authoritarian for no reason. There was nothing compelling ABC to do this. They did it out of fear. We have to keep Donald Trump happy. We have to keep him happy. They did this because they're afraid of him. A multi-billion dollar corporation. They did this because they're afraid. I mean, I know 23-year-olds where I work who have more balls than Disney. This is amazing in such a horrifically bad way. I mean, it is at least if there was some kind of executive order or something, that would be an absolutely blatant violation, unconstitutional violation of the First Amendment. There isn't. ABC News decided to do this solely because Donald Trump said he's upset. So they bent the fucking knee. There was nothing compelling them to do this. This is unimaginable spinelessness, weakness, cowardice. And ABC News and Disney should be boycotted from here to eternity, man.
Jimmy Kimmel has been taken off the air for just playing back a news clip of Trump talking about the White House ballroom when he was asked about the death of Charlie Kirk and how he's holding up. What the fuck is this new cancel culture where you get canceled just for repeating shit that right-wingers say? This is crazy. Like, nobody ever, during like the height of canceling, ever got canceled for repeating the shit that somebody else said. Boycott Disney Plus if you haven't been boycotting Disney already. Like, boycott everything, the princesses, Marvel, Star Wars, I don't care how based or whatever that Andor is. Fuck this shit. Fuck Disney.
Yeah. So, like I told you guys, the assassination of Charlie Kirk has probably solidified the cultural victory for the right and the cultural defeat for the left. Because I think that this Charlie Kirk assassination really was a mask-off moment for just how sick and twisted a lot of these people are on the left. And again, this is a mainstream thing on the left, right? Like, it's not fringe. That's the crazy part. The liberal media pretends that it's fringe. It's only a few people on the internet. No. Like, it's literally all over my TikTok timeline, right? All over my TikTok timeline. Like, the homepage, at least a couple days ago, were liberals that were openly celebrating the assassination of Charlie Kirk. Yeah, don't be surprised when big companies don't want to be associated with that, right? Because regular, normal, sane people are disgusted by that. They're disgusted by it. So, you know, it's just funny to me how liberals are boohoo, whine, and crying cancel culture when, in my opinion, I don't think this is cancel culture, right? This is Jimmy Kimmel going on air and saying something irresponsible that was not a joke. It was an attempt to mislead his audience for political points. That's what he was doing. That's the funny part about it. He was accusing MAGA of trying to score political points for telling the truth, what was obviously the truth about the assassin, but he wasn't trying to score political points by lying about the political ideology of the assassin. Like, come on. So that being said, again, Sinclair, they're saying that the suspension is not enough. Okay, they're calling for the FCC and ABC to take additional action. Let's read this. This is wild. Sinclair, the nation's largest ABC affiliate group, objects to recent comments made by Mr. Kimmel concerning the assassination of Charlie Kirk. As discussed with ABC earlier today, Sinclair decided to indefinitely preempt Jimmy Kimmel Live beginning tonight. Following these discussions, ABC has suspended production of Jimmy Kimmel Live. Quote, Mr. Kimmel's remarks were inappropriate and deeply insensitive at a critical moment for our country, said Vice Chairman Jason Smith. We believe broadcasters have a responsibility to educate and elevate respectful, constructive dialogue in our communities. We appreciate FCC Chairman Carr's remarks today, and this incident highlights the critical need for the FCC to take immediate regulatory action to address control held over local broadcasters by the big national networks. Sinclair's ABC stations will air a special in remembrance of Charlie Kirk this Friday during Jimmy Kimmel's live time slot. The special will also air across all Sinclair stations this weekend. In addition, Sinclair is offering the special to all ABC affiliates across the country. Wow. Again, this is what I mean. A complete and total cultural victory for conservatives. A complete and total cultural defeat for the left. Could you guys imagine? Could you guys imagine 4 years ago something like this happening? Not only are they saying, listen, no, we don't want anything to do with Kimmel, right? We are going to air in his time slot a remembrance of Charlie Kirk. Wow. Not only do they want him canceled, but they're replacing his time slot with a remembrance of Charlie Kirk. Wow. Wow. These liberals, they become social pariahs. I told you guys, that's what they're afraid of. That's why they're freaking out right now, because they're becoming social pariahs. They're realizing that, hey, broader society doesn't agree with you guys, right? Broader society is looking at liberals celebrating the death of Charlie Kirk, and they're saying, nah, we're good, right? You guys go over there, right? We don't F with you, right? That is what broader, sane society is saying. That's what people are saying. They're saying, we're good. We don't want to be associated with people who are that sick and twisted. Companies are doing the same thing. Now, again, remember, these are the same people that told us that it's not cancel culture when a company decides that they don't want to do business with you, right? That's a part of free speech. It is the free speech right of a company to say, hey, we don't support or endorse people who have these viewpoints. This is not the government, right? They decided this themselves. Now, I mean, they believe, it seems as if they're asking the government to take action, but the FCC didn't do anything, right? They didn't do anything. This is a decision that they made on their own. Sinclair will not lift the suspension of Jimmy Kimmel Live on our stations until formal discussions are held with ABC regarding the network's commitment to professionalism and accountability. Yeah, so it sounds like the local affiliates, the local broadcasters, who I believe are FCC regulated, they are upset with ABC, right? They're basically boycotting ABC. They're basically saying, ABC, we do not like what Jimmy Kimmel said, so therefore, if you don't fix this, then we're just going to refuse to air his show, right? That to me sounds like what's going on here, okay? Sinclair also calls upon Mr. Kimmel to issue a direct apology to the Kirk family. Furthermore, we asked Mr. Kimmel to make a meaningful personal donation to the Kirk family and Turning Point USA. Wow. Wow. They're basically saying, not only do we want an apology, we want a donation. We want you to put your money where your mouth is, right? Wow. Wow. This is incredible. This is absolutely incredible. Incredible. Huh. I don't think that Jimmy Kimmel is going to agree, right? I think Jimmy Kimmel is probably not going to do this, because if he actually did this, oh, he would be done. He would be donezo, right? The left would they would hate this man. They would hate this man if he bent the knee. So I don't think he's going to bend the knee. But wow, this is crazy. Regardless of ABC's plans for the future of the program, Sinclair intends not to return Jimmy Kimmel Live to our air until we are confident that appropriate steps have been taken to uphold the standards expected of a national broadcast platform. Wow. Wow. Yeah, I mean, this is find out culture, right? That's what this is. This is find out culture. That's what this is. Because, again, Jimmy Kimmel is not being canceled over some tweet or, some comedy sketch that he did back in the day, right, that offended people. He's not being canceled over that, okay? What's happening is that he went on national television and said something that, at the very least, bare minimum, misled the audience. He knew what he was trying to do. He was pushing a blue anon conspiracy that the shooter is far right, even though there's no evidence whatsoever. Essentially trying to blame Trump supporters for the death of one of the leaders of our movement. Again, how disrespectful is that? Think about that. This guy went on national television and tried to blame the supporters of the movement for why a movement's leader got killed, even though there was no evidence whatsoever to back that up. But again, this is your brain on blue anon. And this is what I try to tell you guys. Liberals hate thoughts and prayers. But if they embrace thoughts and prayers, they would still have jobs, right? A lot of these people they just, given their thoughts and prayers, which they say are useless, right? Oh, thoughts and prayers are useless. Okay, well, I think that thoughts and prayers are actually very useful for liberals, right? It's very useful to help liberals keep their jobs. Because if they just would have said thoughts and prayers and kept it moving, right? A lot of them would still be employed. They would be canceled. But because they came out and they lied, celebrated, justified, rationalized the assassination of Charlie Kirk, which, again, in my opinion, I think leads to more violence when you do stuff like that. People don't want to be associated with it. Companies don't want to be associated with it. People are saying, you're weird, right? Again, the irony here. The party of weirdos and freaks tried to call half the country weird. Turns out, we all know who the weird people are, right? Because some weirdos got exposed celebrating an assassination, right? You have to be a weird person to openly celebrate something like that. Very weird. Because a normal person, even if, you want to celebrate what happened to Charlie Kirk, which again is disgusting, you do that in your own home because you have enough common sense to understand that sane people, right, when you do that in public, most of society, they're going to look down on you, right? They're going to say, this ain't cool, right? So again, if you're one of these people who thought it was okay to do this publicly, right, on social media, on the internet, you kind of deserve to be fired from your job, right? Because it shows just a lack of judgment, character, morals, common sense, right? Let's be real. All things related to your job, right? And in the case of Jimmy Kimmel, he went full blue anon, and he tried to push a blue anon conspiracy theory to his audience, and he's facing consequences. He found out. So again, he's not being canceled. He is facing accountability, okay? He went on national television and said something reckless. I don't want to hear these people out here talking, oh, we shouldn't root for this. We shouldn't cheer for this. He should just apologize and get his job back. Well, he doesn't even want to apologize. He don't want to apologize. He doesn't want to do anything to make it right. He don't want to do that. He's sticking to his guns. So, hey, at the end of the day, if this is where we're at, this is where we're at, right? It is what it is. They were going to get rid of him anyways. They were going to get rid of him anyways, okay? I'm pretty sure his show is not making that much money. If Stephen Colbert, if they can't make money with him, they're definitely not making money with Jimmy Kimmel. So this was probably just an excuse for them to get rid of him in the first place. So it is what it is. Let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.